old heart impacts past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and pass. I back up my actions. Fact, don't ask, grab reactions. Jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused. Call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose. Pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now. Y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're discreet out. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kyusho here. And now, before I do begin, I am not going to be saying your name. However, you keep asking me every day whenever I post a video about this series in particular. Please stop. If you just constantly post when's this series coming out, when is this series coming out, you're going to make me not want to record that series. Now, that I have made you aware of that, let's begin with this series. Whenever we last left off, we had Izuku Carter and his mother. They have both met with the League of Villains and are going to a more safe and secure area to continue a conversation that they were having. Now, with that being said, Shigaraki does actually lead the way. And they actually go down a back alley. As they actually do walk. Until, out of the view of the public, a portal does open up. And Shigaraki does begin to step through. Now, with that being said, Midoriya, he does actually take a step forwards. And so does Isla. Now, both these two have just stepped into the League of Villains headquarters. And it is currently closed. Midoriya is surprised and looking around. Are we in a bar? Yeah, kid, we are. Why, don't feel comfortable here? Last time I was in one of these, I blew it up. That's surprising Shigaraki. The way he just casually stated that sentence kind of was terrifying. Now, with that, we actually do have a doctor who does actually step out from behind a door, along with Kirigiri, the man in a finely pressed vest, who is currently cleaning a glass, and asking them if they would like anything to drink. Now, Isla, she doesn't actually say anything, as she actually does look at Shigaraki, asking exactly where is his boss. Now, the doctor does actually bring up some things. He brings up that, all for one, the boss is actually quite injured for right now. And he is currently recovering. He needs to get as much rest as he can. Now, while he is actually stating all of this, all for one is disconnecting himself from his breathing gear and his life support systems to put on his mask, wanting to meet the Quirkless Wonder for himself. Now, with that being said, this is whenever the doctors actually begin to talk with Midoriya and ask him if what he heard from All For One was true. He possesses no quirk. Him then actually looking up and asking the same question to Isla Carter, who both confirm they are both quirkless. Now, with that, the doctor does actually take a blood sample from Midoriya, and he immediately does actually begin to walk away and test it. Now, once he does actually get the process to start testing, he does come back, since it should be an automatic system. Now, with that, he does actually begin to talk with both of them, along with keeping Shigaraki on track. Now, eventually All For One does show up, surprising the doctor, informing him that he should not be on his feet, and that they still have to make adjustments. Now, All For One simply just tells the doctor that that will not be necessary, and that this boy has gained his interest. He's not going to sit by and let an opportunity like this pass by. Now, All For One does actually sit at the bar, and asking Midoriya to sit next to him and join him. Midoriya actually doing so, as he does also bring up his left hand into his vest. And All For One does actually tell the boy that the gun will not be needed. He does not intend to harm them. Midoriya giving the guy the side eye, and asking him exactly what does he want Eraserhead for. Well, if you must know, child, I seek to take his quirk. His particular ability is quite useful, and it could be useful to me. So, an anti-quirk quirk. A weapon that is both, how is the best way to put it? Double-edged, but more effective. I call it a double-edged sword, but one that is dull. And the downsides to it possibly will not be more harmful than their uses. Okay, Midoriya says. Being to ask an entire list of questions. And this is whenever you actually have Isla, who is actually sitting down and asking Kirigiri a few questions, along with trying to get information about where this bar actually is and what city they are currently in. Now, then there is the topic of Midoriya's payment. All For One asks Midoriya if he would like to take his payment now or later. I do not know. But then again, you want to give me a quirk. Midoriya actually just brings up something in his pocket, pulling out a gun and placing it directly down in front of him. As we do actually cut to All For One's point of view, he heard Midoriya pull out that giant piece of metal, and he heard it clatter as it touched the table in front of him. As we do actually cut to All For One's point of view, or the way he currently is seeing things. He has a ton of sensory-based quirks. He's collected them over the years in an attempt to try and restore his own eyesight. And he has yet to actually take on the idea of getting, I believe it was Ragdoll's quirk? I could be wrong. He's looking for sensory-based quirks and ones that can help him be who he was before his fight with All Might. And Eraserhead's quirk is one that could be of great use to him anyways. Now, skipping over that, he basically is able to see Midoriya's outline, all from the way he does smell and the way he does actually carry himself. Midoriya's body is outlined with a smell, or what you could call it an aura. Now, Midoriya smells and reeks of gunpowder, and the same aura is around that weapon. Him then asking Midoriya what does he plan on doing. He doesn't really smell scared, and he doesn't smell nervous. Call it curiosity, Midoriya says. Him then going on to state that if he does get paid, why does it have to be a quirk? I'm sorry, did you really just ask me that question? Yes. They're gonna pay me with a quirk. In all of my life, Midoriya says, grabbing the gun and actually currently pulling open the revolver, or the revolver mechanism. Now, he actually has begun to pull out his bullets, and simply just grab the, what is it? I'm drawing a blank here right now. He grabs the metal piece inside of it, and begins to roll it in his hands, saying that for most of his life, he's been treated differently because he was quirkless. ever since he was abandoned by his actual mother. This confusing all for one. Isla Carter abandoned you? Baba Yaga abandoned you, all for one says. Oh no, no. She is my mother now. I mean my true mother. S- in something Midoriya. I remember her name started with an I, something. In Midoriya, that's it. In Midoriya. I think I've heard of that name. Now, with that, all Phone is trying to remember. Has he actually heard that name before? What could it mean? And then there is what he does go on stating. He can give Midoriya a quirk now or later. And he can decide what it will be. Midoriya actually asking all for one if he can actually think about that. Now, with that being said, this is a critical junction. Now, for the sake of it, let us flip a coin. Heads for Midoriya getting a quirk and keeping it, and tails for Midoriya not ever having a quirk. Okay, wow. Interesting. Alrighty then. So, Midoriya will be getting a quirk. However, for the sake of it, I'm going to be giving him one now. Then having all for one take it away, and then give him a different quirk which Midoriya would actually want or need for this series. Now, Midoriya just think about it for a second, and begin to talk with his mother. These two actually stepping outside and having a bit of a conversation. Isla surprised to hear about everything. All for one can give quirks, Midoriya is going to be given one as payment, and that apparently he's going after a hero who can erase quirks. Now, him and her do actually have a bit of a conversation. And Isla does actually bring up the fact that if Midoriya does want or really want to have Quirk, then that would be alright with her. It does not matter. However, he should keep in mind that if All For One does do this for him, he would have to get a quirk that he can keep a secret with, or keep under wraps. Midoriya already, he is somewhat near top physical condition for somebody in his age group. His reflexes are very strong. Midoriya is a master tactician and fighter. And then there's also the fact that her saying that he should qualify to be a doctor. Telling her to, or telling Midoriya, to keep all these aspects in mind. And then there's the fact that, with his temperament, a quirk might worsen it. Asking him if he's really ready for that to happen. Midoriya understanding, and asking his mother if she would want to talk with All For One and see if he can give her a quirk too. He might have another job. I'm not too sure. I mean, I'm already a bit old for myself. But having a quirk now, that's kind of strange. My mother abandoned me, well, my family abandoned me because I was quirkless. And then, all of a sudden, what? Over 30 years later, not only am I rich, powerful, well known, I can get a quirk now. It just doesn't seem very straightforward to me. However, if I am going to get one, her trying to think of one that she would want, and actually trying to piece it all together in her head. Now, eventually Midoriya does come to the conclusion that yes, he does want a quirk. And he actually does walk back inside. and sit down, telling all for one that here is going to be the deal. He doesn't really know that much about quirks himself. All he has seen is of people around him and many others. However, he does have a relatively good knowledge about more well-known quirks, and with Eraserheads being unique, that won't really pose a problem. Asking All for One if he can get a quirk that allows him to physically overpower Eraserhead, or a simple strength-enhancing quirk. If he's able to blind or flash Eraserhead, he could take him out within seconds. Now, this does actually surprise All for One, asking Midoriya if he really does want that quirk. A strength boosting one. I don't know. It's just something I want to try out. I've been able to... What was it? A few years ago I was attacked, and I was physically overpowered. So, Midoriya says, bringing a pen out of his pocket, as he just simply holds it against the table, moving it around with his finger, as he's swirling it in circles, saying that whenever he was physically overpowered, he actually did have a bit of a problem. They got him angry, and he had to rip through his own flesh on his arm, simply to get away. He then killed 2 of them, and beat one of them into a coma, before having a witness testify about his innocence, and what they did actually plan to do against him. Midoriya going into some explicit detail about what happened that day. Him leaving out the part where killing that one kid with his pistol was an accident. And All for One, he sees great potential in Midoriya. Midoriya is a cold and calculating young man, and it kind of is impressive. Truly he is the son of Baba Yaga. So, he does actually extend his hand outwards on the table, telling Midoriya to simply just give him his hand and he will give him a quirk. Midoriya actually extending his hand outwards. All for One painfully transmitting over a quirk. And Midoriya, he somewhat just sits there, beginning to grit his teeth, as he does actually grab down onto the table in front of him. As soon as his quirk is active, he crushes the piece of the table in his hand, before letting go. All for One simply just telling Midoriya to be careful now. If he doesn't know how to properly regulate that quirk ability, then it is going to be very devastating to him, and many different people around him. Now, this is whenever Midoriya, he does actually listen to All for One. Him actually grabbing his gun off the table, and going to close his hand. However, as soon as he does actually close his hand around the gun, he does actually crush the barrel. And so we just look at that, and begin to wonder, okay, so this is all new. Enjoy it while it lasts, young man. Now I expect my own end of the deal to be held up. Do not worry, All for One, it will be. However, are there any other targets you want? Targets. I'm saying, do you have any more people you want us to go after? If we bring in Eraserhead, people might either get suspicious or start asking questions. So, we could make certain heroes disappear and make them look like accidents. In fact, Midoriya going on to say that even Night Eye could get suspicious, and begin to look to the future. All for One telling Midoriya to let him worry about all that. However, there are a few targets on his list, and Midoriya, he could hunt them all down for him. Midoriya turning around and telling All for One that that could be arranged. However, he would have to talk to his mother, since she herself actually does think about getting a quirk. All for One actually sitting down, or still sitting down, says to Baba Yaga that he would give her a quirk as well, if she can perform as he expects of their reputation. Now, with that, she does actually agree to Alphaone's terms, and the two do actually go out to hunt for Eraserhead. Now, these two actually do begin to look through public records and files that they know are public. And it is found that Eraserhead, or Mr. Aizawa, he is actually a teacher for UA. And it's very interesting. The man is not only a pro hero, but he's a school teacher. Apparently, from what he can tell on public record, the man works mostly at night. And not only that, but it's one of the reasons why he's always seen in a sleeping bag in public, one of the reasons why his eyes look the way they are, why he looks like he might be possibly a homeless man, and apparently with his quirk, it's another reason for his eyes. Now, Midori doesn't understand exactly how well Mr. Aizawa does perform in combat, noting that the largest amount of people he's ever faced has been at least more than 5 or 6 different men, all at once. Now, with that, Midori does actually come up with a plan, and he does actually want to set up a trap. Him and his mother both actually being to make a timeline of everything Aizawa has done within the last 2 to 3 weeks. Or at least anything that they can find him being connected to. Now, the two are actually both sitting in a continental hotel room, and actually trying to piece this all together. Midori is holding on to a stress ball, and he is simply just told that he needs to work on his grip. Now, Midori's objective is to hold onto the stress ball and fold his fist without causing the ball to explode. And Midori is doing this. Him sitting there and squeezing on the ball. Anytime it explodes, he simply just grabs another one and tries to work on this. His mother setting down thumbtacks and saying that this is where he's been. Her saying that this is yesterday, last week, and going further and further. Finding that Mr. Aizawa's local region, or his patrol route, is somewhat consistent. So, they go over it, and find that within the last year, he's been within the city in a consistent pattern. Now, along with that, they actually do come up with a plan themselves. And it's going to work out somewhat perfect. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed. Have an amazing night. I'll catch you guys in the next part.